Take for instance, I'm preparing for one conference coming up, and the title of my paper is "The Role of Self-Control in Organizational Leadership." And so here, I talk whatever other professors talk about organizational leadership. Then I bring in stuff like what Rupa Goswami says in the Padasamrita, that those who want to lead, they should first lead themselves, they have to control themselves. Vasha Vegam, Manasa Kroda Vegam, Jiva Vegam, Mudaro Pasta Vegam, Etam Vegam, Yo Visa Hita, the Sabram Apim, Pritivim Sasa Shat. And, scholars, the funny thing about scholarship is that, because scholars, they are open and they want to learn more and more. If you present something they know, and then you also add something they don't know, then you are the actual scholar. I tell you a funny story. I remember one journal editor, he called me and said, "We want your papers in our journal." That was a social science journal. And he said, "We want your papers in our journal." I said, "Why me? Yeah, there's so many professors. Go meet them to solicit for papers in your journal." He said, "Oh, come on. What all these guys say, we know. What you say, we don't know. Therefore, we need a paper in our journal." Because I bring things, from the very literature in a very polished way, okay, into my writings. And so, they consider that this is real scholarship. Because scholarship means that you present something while somebody else has not presented. It's a funny area, but that's what makes scholarship. You can't go and replicate all the time. You have to, if you generate some idea that no one else has generated, then yes, you are a real scholar. So the thesis, the constructs and the concepts in the Vedic literature, most of them don't know about. And so when you read all of Prabhupada's writings, you see so many things that you can really incorporate into your writing, and in that way, they're getting the message. But some scholars have read a lot of our books, that once they see your writing, they will know that you're from ISKCON. I give you an example. I read some article one time, some years back, in one journal, and I didn't even know that the article was published. I went there with one of my godbrothers who was a professor at that university, a young professor at that university. He did his PhD there, and so he was teaching there. So we are trying to figure out ways to preach. So we just decided that, all right, let me submit articles to academic journals. So we went to the psychology journal, we went to the social science journals to submit some papers at some multicultural journals. And so I didn't know that one of the papers I submitted was already published. So one day I just went there to check what is their verdict on my paper. Are they going to accept it or not? So they said, "Oh, come on, we published a paper." So, and then the professor, the editor-in-chief, he said, "Oh, you're the guy from the Hare Krishna." That was what he said. So I said, "I didn't talk anything about Hare Krishna on my paper." He said, "I've read your stuff. That is Hare Krishna philosophy." So, the scholars, most of them, they are, especially those from the faculties of arts and the social sciences, they are very versatile. There are some people who don't just log into the four walls of their house or four walls of their faculty alone. They like to read broad. So a number of them, they have read our literatures. And so those type of people, you can't confuse them. If they read your paper and it has some stuff from Prabhupada's writings, they will know. But then that will impel them to become more friendly. Like the professor I was referring to, he became so friendly that he was editing so many books and some journals. And then we struck a deal. He wanted me to contribute to his journals and books. So each time, in fact, we resolved at one point in time that he won't go to press until he gets my articles. And so we use him to do a lot of preaching in that university, And he was doing a lot of preaching even verbally with other professors on behalf of ISKCON. So that is how it works when you actually clamp down on one professor who actually becomes favorable to Prabhupada's teachings. Then it's like you conquer the whole village, because the professors, especially in the area of political science, leadership, etc., they are the advisors to incumbent rulers, incumbent leaders of society, and also they are the big guns within their communities. They are the leaders of their communities. And again, they are the educational leaders of their institutions. So, like Krishna mentions in the Gita, whatever a great man does, the common man follows. Whatever standard he says, the whole world pursues. So that is the secret in, running academic-oriented preaching programs. But it is very tasking for devotees in general, because you have to have a high standard of sadhana to be able to survive it. Because, you have so much things to read, and you need to really have less time of sleep and more time of reading and more time to be able to focus on your chanting. That will consolidate your position, and in that way you'll be able to thrive. So, because also we don't get money from it, many people are not very much willing to go into this type of preaching. But in my case, I had this direct instruction from my spiritual master, and he wanted me to do all of this academic preaching stuff. So I took it as my life and soul. That's what I've been doing over the years.
Would you have done it anyway, even if you didn't get that instruction? Were you
well,
already...
I was actually interested in academic stuff before I came to ISKCON. I know when even I was in high school, my father was always writing me letters and telling me, I want you to go and get a PhD. I'll do everything. I'll sacrifice everything, and to make sure that you go get a PhD. And that was in high school, okay? So my father was actually very much underground motivator for my academic desires. But then, when I came into ISKCON, I just forgot about everything. But, I got this bumping instruction from my Guru Maharaj that, he doesn't like other services I'm doing. I should just go and preach to professors. So then, I took it that, well, this is what Krishna perhaps wants me to do.